the Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Rowling. Do you believe you are capable of choosing your future? Sometimes it takes just one person to believe in you, for you to believe in yourself. If you find yourself continuing to say, someday I will take better care of myself, only to continue living the same day over and over and over again, then you, my friend, are in the right place. I am your biggest cheerleader, inspiring you to become you on purpose and with intention. Are you ready to create a life you love? I'm excited to share with you some big ideas that you can use today to inspire, impact, and influence your life and everyone in it. The Becoming You show starts now. Hello, my friends. How are you? Welcome to a new month. I love a new month. You guys know this. I love new mornings. I love new days. I love new weeks. I love new months. And I love the month of June because it's halfway through the year. So it really gives me opportunity and inviting you to really kind of think about where you are, where you want to be without, of course, shame or guilt, but just curiosity. And so I wanted to offer up and start with that today. I also am excited to have the conversation that we're going to have today with you all, because I don't think that we think enough about it. And I believe because we don't, it stunts our growth and our happiness and this sense of aliveness. So that is the question of wants. When was the last time you thought about what it is that you want? So often when I'm doing a workshop or a retreat, I'll ask the participants to share what it is that they want. And for so many of them, they don't know. They just don't know. They might be able to offer up general wants like more money or better health or more time, but nothing with any specificity. And so it gets me thinking about, when did we stop wanting? When did we stop thinking about and imagining our future? I remember when I was in elementary school and they asked you to think about your life like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. And I know for me, my 5-year plan was to graduate from high school and go to college. At the time, I wanted to be a lawyer. My 10-year plan was to get a job, get married, have 4 kids, and a white van and a wraparound porch. And honestly, I can't even remember what I envisioned for myself after 10 years. After all the firsts were over, then what? Right? College, check. Job, check. Married, check. Kids, check. White van, check. Wraparound porch, check. Well, kind of. It didn't wrap all the way around the house like I drew it in 4th grade. But I like for me, at least after my first, I just kind of settled into my life. I'm not suggesting that this is a bad thing. I'm just suggesting that I think for so many of us, there is another level of firsts that we haven't even explored. And that's what I kind of want to talk about today. So the ask on this show is that we explore them, that we think about them, that we dream again. So if we got to think in firsts again, what new firsts would you want to invite into your life? We are not done living, which means we are not done creating new firsts. I want you to think about your future. If you could pick anything for it, what would it look like? If you are like me, I know when I do this exercise, my brain will tell me all the reasons that that's not an option for me, right? My kids are in too much. I wouldn't have the time. I don't have the money. That would be considered excessive. So I just let my brain know that. Just because we want it doesn't mean we have to take action to do it. But we must commit to knowing what it is at least. So when I think about firsts, for me, it kind of renews my spirit. It gets me excited again to live my life. It reminds me that I am not dead yet, and I have way more life to live. So here are a few of my new firsts, right? That I let myself want without judgment. Did you know that you could just want for the sake of wanting? Not just the big things, but the little things as well, like your morning routines and your day end rituals and the freedom from reaction and other people's agenda. Choosing mindfulness over regret and rumination and worry, waking up fully alive, ready to serve to the best of my ability, choosing love over fear. Can these not be wants? I know they're mine. And some of my bigger wants are, I thought I would share because I want you thinking in infinite possibility. I want you to think outside of what you thought was capable. And if it is a desire in you, if there's even a fleeting flicker of, oh, I want that. I want you to know that it's possible, because I believe that there wouldn't be this nudge, there wouldn't be this fleeting flicker if you couldn't either possess the skills, the capabilities in order to make it possible, or that you don't even already have them. So I thought I would share some of my new firsts, right? I shared with you my old new firsts, right? Getting college, getting a job, getting a van, having kids, having a wraparound porch. Those were my new firsts. And then, like I said, I think once we're done with our new first, we just stop dreaming. I want you to think anew again. I want you to think newly about your new firsts. So here was some of the ones that I was thinking about for the conversation today. Like my new first would be my first team of 10, my first team of 10 employees, my first $1 million year, my first oceanfront property, my first marathon in my 50s, my first doctorate degree, my first co-authored book, my first standing ovation, my first sold out quantum strategy mastermind, my first coaching certification program, the first time that I was able to donate 6 figures each to the Family Cancer Network that I'm part of and the Blue Lips Foundation, of which I'm part of. My first out-of-country retreat. There were so many firsts that I had to stop, because I'm like, nobody wants to hear all of these. I want to hear all of yours. I want you, if you can, to pause this, to bust out a sheet of paper and your pencil and just write them. Write them with abandon. I truly believe, like I said before, that if it is in you to want it, it is in you to make it happen. I believe that our impact on the world is based on a life well lived. And I believe a part of living a life well lived is exploring new level wants. I think we all want to make a contribution in our life. And I believe it starts by the way you live it. So wants, do you know what it is that you want? That's the first part of this conversation. The second part of the conversation is delay. I believe that delay is the reason that we don't actualize our wants and our desires. And if we can create some awareness around the delays, we can better leverage our ability to want. Okay. So I want you to think about, is there any area of your life that you feel as though you are delaying your deserved progress? Where are you procrastinating on your potential? Where is it that maybe you know you should, you want, you desire X for yourself, but for whatever reason, you're delaying your dreams? And I think that it comes down to 4 reasons. At least these are my reasons that I find myself in delay and doubt and procrastination and all the thieves of my first and my wants and my desires. Okay. The first one is just lack of clarity. I believe that we delay doing most things because we're just uncertain of the right action to take, as if there is such a thing as right action or wrong action. We also delay because we're uncertain of the payoff of the risk reward equation. We think that the answers of what to do and why to do it will just magically appear someday. And someday becomes the delay. Okay? We doubt ourselves and we assume that other people have the answers on how to get what we want. Right? One, or we just plain act confused about what the right solve is for what we want. What is that right workout? What is that right diet? What is that right business strategy? What is the right way to hire? What's the right way to fire? And so our delay comes from doubt of right action, doubt of self, and doubt of the benefit. We're confused by the reward and scared of the risk and what they might have to be willing to do. That's a big one in order to make progress. Delay is a function of doubt and confusion and this lack of clarity. The second thing that I believe that creates a bunch of delay for us, me, right, is this lack of courage. Okay, in other words, fear. Most fear is imagined and a result of poor mental management. Okay, fear creates delay. Fear in the form of not wanting to do the thing because we don't want to feel. How many people delay doing something because we don't want to feel ashamed or embarrassed or frustrated or disappointed? Okay. We don't want to post that video or launch that course or have that conversation or get into a relationship or get out of the relationship, right? Because we are afraid to feel. We are afraid to be let down. We're afraid to feel embarrassed. We're afraid to be disappointed. We're afraid to be discouraged. We are afraid that we might fail. We fear that we might not be able to handle it. We are afraid that we might not be liked, that it will be too hard. And this is why I am challenging you always on this podcast to get really good at feeling. If you are not scared to feel any emotion, you will not be scared to live your life. And when the opposite is true, when you are scared to feel, the end result will be, yes, of delay, but two, you won't be able to live your life. The other area for me, when I find delay creep up, is just lack of support. We feel that we're alone, that no one understands, that no one gets us, that we want to do this thing, but our spouse doesn't support us, that we don't have the buy-in that we want from people. We feel as though that we can't do that because that is not what people know us for. What would they think? I know for me, when I quit corporate to start my coaching business, I had a full-blown identity crisis. I had been known for one thing for 20 years. And now all of a sudden I'm going to start doing this other thing? Right? I thought for sure people were thinking I was mad, that I'd lost my mind. Because mostly we don't have the self-support required when anyone else questions our decision to go for it anyway. Like, I like to remind myself that if there are going to be people that don't like my decisions and my life, it better not be me. I remind myself that if I really want, okay, a real want, not a quick fix want, not a false want, but a deep desire to take something on, it's in me to create it. No one else has to understand it and get it. It's not within them, clearly. Otherwise, they would get it and they would support me. But if they don't, it's because it's not within them, and that's okay. But what I also find to be true is most people do support you. Most people are cheering you on. And those that don't are not people that you will need on your journey anyway. I promise you, they're not. And just because they're not right now, it doesn't mean that they won't get on your support system eventually. Just not yet. Not yet, because they don't believe it's possible. And the best news ever is they don't need to believe that it's possible. It's not their want. It's your want. The only person that needs to believe it's possible for you is you. Okay. And the last reason that I feel like we delay and procrastinate is because of lack of capital, right? And I used a bunch of C words, so I kind of threw capital in there. Okay. But what I mean by capital, when I define it in these terms, is that we believe that we do not have the energy, the time, the money, the skills, the capabilities to not just start, but to follow through on the want. We are not willing to alter our lifestyle for what might be required. I find that for so many of us, even if we know what we want and we're up to the challenge of the want and we have the support that is required, we will delay if we lack a willingness to change and or believe that we will lack the resources for implementation and follow through. I think for so many, we overestimate the amount of resources it takes because we are already exhausted. We are meeting this want in complete burnout. And we know what we want, but we're too tired to put anything extra towards it because we don't have anything extra. We forget to consider that our want, that what we want is and can be energizing if we allow it to be. So we delay in excuses of resources and capital, and it seems responsible until it feels unfulfilling. All of these delays, all of them are rooted in scarcity and in lack, right? Lack of clarity, lack of courage, lack of community, lack of capital. All lack is rooted in scarcity, and all scarcity is rooted in self-esteem. So if the reason we delay our wants is due to self-esteem, the solve then becomes simple. Faith. You have to choose to believe in yourself, to believe in your capabilities, to commit to knowing what it is that you want and growing the community that will support you along the way, starting with yourself. I would love you to take 15 to 20 minutes, right, sometime in the next day or two and really put pen to paper with your desires. If you haven't already paused this to do that, can you do that for yourself? Can you list them all, knowing that you don't have to take action on any of them? But can you give yourself a chance to dream again, to reimagine firsts again, to set yourself for something bigger than yourself? I want us all to pursue our wants without the scarcity that's too often involved. Let esteem break the scarcity cycle and see what you are made of. And if you want to learn how to do this, if you want to learn how to get out of scarcity, I just released my declutter course. So what does scarcity and clutter have in common? Everything. Remember, all of the delay in your life comes from lack. It comes from scarcity. And when people have a lack of clarity, it is because they have mental clutter. In order to have clarity, you must clear the clutter. When people lack courage, it is because they have emotional clutter. They are not willing to tolerate the emotions necessary to move into progress. They are also not willing to feel. So they repress and react and reject the very emotion that is required of them to shift out of the delay and into momentum. When people lack community, it's because they have relational clutter. Relational clutter stems from our desire to make people happy, people pleasing, to be liked, pretending, to have it all together, perfectionism. And these P's are the reason that you lack the support that you want and that you need in order to fulfill and make right in your want. When we lack resources, it's because we have career and temporal clutter, lack of balance and time. Knowing how to clear the clutter and get more time back, have more energy and be more effective is the byproduct of clearing this clutter. Clearing clutter gets you out of delay and doubt and indecision. And this course gets you there. We walk through each clutter area by way of video and worksheets. It's self-paced. It's I've made it super affordable. Why? Because I want to get this work into every single person's hands, because I want us all wanting again. I want us all to be examples of what is possible. And the only way we can be an example of what is possible is if we go after our wants, we go after our desires and those nudges. Otherwise, we will always feel like there was something more and we will feel unfulfilled. So in order to really break and get right into actualizing our wants, we have to address the scarcity. We have to address the lack of clarity, the lack of courage, the lack of community, and the lack of capital. And we do that by clearing clutter. That's how we do it. Okay, so if you have questions on this, in the show notes, there's a link to the clutter course page. You can find out all of the information on there, or you can DM me or email me. But like I mentioned, it is self-paced. There is a video. It's probably 15 to 20 hours of video lecture in there of me doing the videos, walking you through each of these clutter areas. I want you to think and imagine your life clutter-free. I want you to imagine a reality, a possibility where you are clear of mind. I know for me, mental clutter just didn't leave me stuck in doubt. It left me stuck in memory fog. It left me stuck in forgetting. It left me stuck in inability to be very conscientious and intentional. And so if you want more intention and more clarity and more effective, productive planning in your life, we have to shift the mental fog and we have to step into what we know to be true. Same thing with emotional clearing. When you learn how to feel and when you can clear what I call indulgent emotions, emotions like worry, emotions like fear and doubt and resentment and bitterness, they're all in the indulgent family. And when you learn how to process emotions and when you learn how to clear emotional clutter, you won't find yourself ruminating in worry, in doubt, in delay, because one will have the clarity, the mental clearness to be effective, and you'll know how to generate emotions on purpose so that you can be intentional about what it is that you want to feel. My temporal clutter, like it's a month 13 guaranteed. If you offer up to yourself, I don't have the time, okay? It's just a thought. It is, and I get it. It's a valid thought. But you not having the time is still just a thought. It's not a time problem. It's a clutter problem. We don't have the time because we haven't managed it effectively, because we have all sorts of clutter. I teach you how to get an extra month back in your life in that course. I call it month 13. What would you do with an extra month? We talk about all the time. We don't have time for self-care. We don't have time for date nights. We don't have time to spend with friends and family. And I want to challenge you that you do. You just haven't prioritized it well because you're sitting in clutter. I say this all the time, but the life that we want is buried underneath everything that we don't want. And I want you, like the whole message of this podcast is you living into and becoming that very next version of you. So if you haven't cleared up the clutter and you believe that there is more for you, take the clutter course. I can't wait to see what happens when you clear each of these clutter areas, even just a level, even just one step more. Clear it out just a little bit so that you have space to explore the possibility that is your life. Okay, my beautiful friends, wants and delays. I want you to know what you want, and I want you to know how you're delaying in those wants. And if you want to take this work next level, sign up for my clutter course, take it and experience what it feels like to live life in abundance, out of scarcity. out of lack. Have an amazing one, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. You have been listening to the Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Rolling, where I share big ideas to inspire, impact, and influence your life. Tune in every Friday at 11 Central on transformationtalkradio.com for your morning cup of coffee, the hug you never want to end, and that inspirational message that you felt was written just for you. Each show is inspiring you to become you with purpose and intention. For more information or to connect with me, visit www.leahrolling.com.